year ago. After just 2 victories in 2013, it was the best turnaround in the nation last year. Kevin Cronin will kick off for the Spartans with Brian Driscoll deep for Air Force. And this one will skip through the end zone and will come out to the 25. Well, when you see Air Force, you know, with the triple option, they're going to run the ball, and they're number 2 in the country, coming in over 400 rushing yards per game. They've been excellent in the red zone, all touchdowns in their 7 tries. And it's hard to shut out this offense. They've got the 3rd longest active streak in the country. We'll see how they function offensively with their backup quarterback, though. Nate Romine suffered an ACL and MCL injury last week in the win over San Jose State. He's out for the year. So Carson Roberts, his first start since 2013. He's a senior from Houston, did play in a couple of games this year and some last year. And he'll hand it off on first down to Jacoby Owens, and he gets about 4 yards.
Romine's a big loss for Air Force. He was an emotional leader, but also obviously the trigger man at the quarterback position. You know, when you watch this triple option, there's so many decisions that go into it. A lot of times we think of just quarterbacks that throw the ball having to make decisions or reading defenses, but as much, if not more, on the plate of an option quarterback. So we'll see how Carson Roberts handles that, especially in a hostile environment like this.
2nd down and 6. And Roberts pitches it behind the back. Air Force does recover at the 20-yard line as Jacoby Owens pounced on it, but that's a loss of about 8.
Yeah, it's just nerves. You know, that first pitch, it's almost like the first throw for a quarterback from the pocket. Reads it well, then he pitches and just loses sight, and that's, you know, the amount of reps that he had with Jacoby Owens. Probably not as many, obviously, as Nate Romine, and just out of position there, and the pitch is behind him. Almost a tragic start.
So it's 3rd down and 13. Roberts with 3 career touchdown passes. And dumps it off out of the backfield, but falling down on the play. So they get back to the original line of scrimmage. Catch made by Brian Driscoll, but it's 4th down for Air Force.
And it's going to be a reoccurring theme with Air Force on the offensive side. If they're going to have some success in this game, moving the football, scoring points, they've got to be really efficient on 1st and 2nd down. They can't be in those 3rd long situations. Obviously, that's not their forte.
McGarrett Kings is deep for the Brett Dunn punt. Short kick. And takes an Air Force hop near the 40-yard line, where Michigan State will operate on its first series of the game. Well, Connor Cook, 5th-year senior quarterback, has been a winner. The Big Ten championship in 2013. Then he was the Rose Bowl MVP in their win over Stanford. And then last year knocked off Baylor in come-from-behind fashion to take home the Cotton Bowl. Cook with 4 touchdown passes this year, including 2 in the win over Oregon last week. Doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. 25-3 as a starter at MSU. Andre London is the running back. He'll split carries with true freshman L.J. Scott. London, a redshirt freshman, he's bottled up after a gain of 1 at the 42-yard line.
You know, I felt like talking with Connor Cook yesterday. His attitude was right coming into this game. He wasn't taking Air Force for granted. Obviously a huge game and a huge win both for Connor and for this program a week ago against Oregon. But he said, you know, we didn't do everything we could have. We left some points on the board. At the end of that game, had 2 consecutive 3-and-outs, which allowed Oregon to get back in the game. So he's dedicated, and I think he's focused to play better on offense, and I think that's the right approach.
Cook to the air on 2nd down and 9. That pass to the sideline. A beautiful catch by Aaron Burbridge in Air Force territory. Burbridge is now Cook's go-to guy with Tony Lippett and Keith Mumphrey graduated.
And he's taken over that X position, Dave, who's isolated. Looks like he came down inbounds with that ball, but the X receiver normally is your best receiver because he's isolated one-on-one on the weak side, and anytime that
Reese, I don't know. It looked like
down out of bounds.
Yeah, his back may have hit first out of bounds, but they have not signaled to review this play yet.
Once you get Burbridge matched up one-on-one, Connor Cook has supreme confidence in giving him an opportunity to make a play.
Cook pulls it back, looks downfield, and another first down catch, this by R.J. Shelton. You know, for so long, Michigan State under Mark D'Antonio was known for its defense, but now the Spartans are an offensive team, and that's because of the play of Connor Cook.
Well, last year they were an offensive team. I would agree with you, Dave. It's still a work in progress on the offensive side, in my opinion, this year. Obviously a big win a week ago, but they need to improve on the offensive side. They need to find a consistent playmaker on the outside. I think they've found the running back tandem to replace Jeremy Langford, but the passing game still needs work.
Here's London, and he is thrown down at the 28-yard line after a 3-yard gain. Weston Steelhammer. It's a great name, and he's a very good player. First team All-Mountain West last year, the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week. Made the stop, 2nd and 7.
He's got his hands full in this game, but defensive coordinator Steve Russ feels like he's up to the challenge. He's the only returning starter in the secondary for Air Force, so not only is he the emotional leader in that secondary, but also he gets everybody lined up front.
Cook going to hand it off again. London picks a hole. Brought down to the 25-yard line by Connor Healy. So they got a 3rd down and 4 here for Michigan State. The Spartans are very good on 3rd down. Got the Healy brothers at linebacker, Connor and Patrick. We have 3 sets of brothers in this game, including Jack and Brian Allen on the offensive line for Michigan State.
And Steve Russ likes to bring, especially in 3rd down situations, those Healy brothers on pressures, especially internal, inside the tackles. We'll see if they play tight man coverage and try to get pressure on Connor Cook.
On 3rd down and 4, they're going to run it. And London, with second effort, gets the first down to the 16-yard line for 9 yards. And Patrick Healy, who weighs about the same as London, trying to take him down.
Yeah, and Healy was there in position. They brought a blitz off the edge. Healy's there. It's just, you know, that's a big man to try to bring down. And physical start for the Spartans.
London through 2 games averaging 81 yards, hit 62 yards on the first play against Oregon last week, rushed for over 100 yards. So a fresh set of downs, and here comes London again, hit in the backfield, brought down at the 15, a 1-yard pickup. Dexter Walker, the active career leaders in tackles for Air Force, made the stop and also was shaken up on the play. He heads to the Air Force sideline.
This is an area of the field where you expect Michigan State, with that size advantage up front on the offensive line, to give L.J. Scott, to give Madre London as many opportunities to wear down this Air Force defense as they can.
8th play of the drive here for the Spartans from the 15-yard line, 2nd down and 9. Off play action, Cook setting up, and a Cook to the end zone, incomplete. Good coverage by Air Force off of 2 fakes. Burbridge, the intended receiver, and so a 3rd down and long.
Great job by Roland Labido in the secondary. You know, you have to respect that physical running attack from Michigan State, and Ladipo, great coverage on Burbridge.
So 3rd down and 9 for Michigan State. This will be huge for Air Force after this 4.5-minute drive. If they can get a stop and force a field goal, and plus the kicker Michael Geiger has been suspect to say the least, even on short tries. Cook facing pressure, fires to Price for the touchdown. That's his go-to guy in the red zone. 13th career touchdown and 3rd this season for Price.
Price is such a valuable asset in this Michigan State offense. We talk a lot about Burbridge. Last year we talked a lot about Mumphrey and Lippett. But Josiah Price is that security blanket for Connor Cook in 3rd down situations and in the red zone. He's money.
91st consecutive made extra point for Geiger, a school record, and Connor Cook with his 5th touchdown pass already this season finding Josiah Price on 3rd down and long to get the Spartans on the board first. Josiah Price ties a Michigan State tight end record with his 13th career touchdown catch. And Michigan State on the board first. A balanced drive by Mark D'Antonio's team. And Connor Cook's 3rd and 9 situation didn't impact him. Threw a strike to Price in double coverage. And the wind blows the ball off the tee. And it was raining when we got here. Coming down pretty good, and then the skies parted, but it has been windy throughout. And a couple thousand cadets making the trip from Colorado Springs. The Air Force Academy is located. And Driscoll, the deep man again. The shorter kick. He'll field this one at the 7-yard line. And Driscoll out to the 26 before he's wrapped up.
You know, you talk about that last touchdown pass. Madre London, the running back, had a great blitz pickup. They brought Connor Healy right up the middle. Look at that flush pickup. Allows Connor Cook to step into the throw. And then you have Josiah Price, who just gets enough separation. You mentioned it was double coverage. It was. Air Force had 2 guys in position for Josiah Price, but they both had outside leverage, which made it an easy throw and catch for Josiah Price and Connor Cook.
How hard is that for London when you're a redshirt freshman getting used to picking up guys on blitz situation?
You know, it's when you have one guy, it's pretty easy in pickup, right? But when you have to read an inside linebacker to an outside linebacker to a safety off of different fronts. That's when it becomes a little bit more difficult.
Carson Roberts, the quarterback, he'll pitch it to Washington on 1st and 10 and gets a block. And then runs over a defender to the 36-yard line. All right, let's check in with Tom Luganbill down on the field.
Well, the Air Force Academy, guys, isn't just Georgia Tech or Navy when you think about the option. It's the option plus. You're going to see the option principles, but you're going to see zone, you're going to see lead, you're going to see power. We just saw toss sweep. And then you're going to get diverse personnel. You're going to get 12 personnel, 2 backs, a single tight end, 3 wides, and then multiple sets, which you've got to expect play action pass off of the option. And then you get these 2nd and 3rd and shorts, you're in great shape offensively if you're Air Force.
That time they got a 2nd and 1, they'll hand it off to the fullback, DJ Johnson, and he plows forward to get the 1st down for the Falcons.
Yeah, DJ Johnson is a big key in this game, as we see one of the defenders for Michigan State, looks like Riley Bulla, shaking up there. But you can see this offense, when it gets going, it's hard to stop. And just ask Boise State, Colorado State from a year ago. But Riley Bulla is somebody that they cannot lose on that defensive side at the Mike linebacker position.
He's the heartbeat of that D, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. All right, let's go back to the studio, check in with Cassidy Hubbard. All right, Cassidy, Riley Bulla looks to be all right, jogging to the sideline. Took him a while, though, after he took that shot trying to make the tackle.
This coaching staff is really excited about Riley Bulla. They knew kind of his potential a year ago. He played in certain personnel groupings and 3rd downs. He's a little bit faster than his brother Max. Not quite as big, but he has played outstanding in the first 2 weeks of the season.
They pitch it to Washington running this way. And it gets good yardage again, able to stay in bounds and pick up a 1st down to midfield. A 12-yard run for Ben Washington. Comes in averaging about 8 yards a carry.
And they need this perimeter run game. You know, Tom was mentioning a lot of different sets, a lot of different motions, a lot of different ways that they can move the football. But if they're not able to block this big defensive front up front, they've got to get the ball to the perimeter quickly.
There's some movement on the right side of the line. A.J. Riekle and Severin Remo, right guard and right tackle respectively. Saw Shalik Calhoun jump into the neutral zone. Which happened first?
Like they might have been drawn off. You know, Jacoby Owens goes in that short motion from the wing position.
This is so hard for defensive linemen because And Mark D'Antonio was telling us yesterday, you can somewhat simulate.
Offside, number 89 defense, jumping into the neutral zone and causing a threatened lineman to react. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
It's so hard for defensive linemen. He said in drills we can somewhat simulate cut blocking, which is legal in college football, but you can't go live because you can't risk getting guys injured. So this is unique. You just don't see it very often. And the defensive linemen have to worry about being on the ground. Jacoby Owens near a first down, appears to have it at the 39, picked up 6 yards.
Fellas, in about 2.5 days, it's very difficult to prepare for all the elements of this offense, and that's the great equalizer if you're Air Force. Now, what we're seeing with some of these perimeter runs is there's no way Air Force is going to be able to overwhelm Michigan State at the point of attack between the tackles man-to-man. But what does happen are the angles and the quickness out of their stance allows Air Force to get to the perimeter in a hurry. Then it comes down to the perimeter blockers for Air Force to extend plays. We've seen that so far today.
They're just inside the 40-yard line, and the ball is fumbled. It's scooped up by R.J. Williamson. Penalty marker down. I don't know that Williamson will be down. He's going to take it all the way. A Michigan State touchdown. Penalty marker back at the line of scrimmage. But if this stands, boy, Air Force moving the ball, gets inside the 40. Not only do you turn it over, but you turn it over and it results in a touchdown.
Personal foul, chop block, number 55 offense. The play resulted in a touchdown. The 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. Try for point.
That's the center, Alex Norton. We talked about cut blocking being legal, chop blocking, where you have one guy blocking a defender and the other guy, while the defender is engaged, comes in low. That is illegal, but the penalty is declined.
Yeah, and a lot of times the offensive lineman will come off, and it's his job to cut that defensive lineman. And sometimes it's not his fault, but actually the guard might engage him on accident, and then you have a chop block. So very hard to know, who's at fault here. Let's go back, and there's a center right here. He's going to come off. Yeah, see right there. That's all it takes is that guard to engage, and this officiating crew is going to be alerted to that, especially in a game like this. But a huge change of momentum on the touchdown for Williams.
On DJ Johnson, Reschke replacing a very good linebacker, Ed Davis, who was injured in camp. So Reschke, a sophomore, thrust into a starting position. And he makes a play here in week 3 when Air Force was driving the football, was inside the Michigan State 40. There was a 15-yard penalty as well on Air Force. We'll see here if Cronin just boots it through the end zone, or if he tries to make one of the up men field a rolling football. As the sun comes out, Cronin just decides to kick it deep and through the uprights.
You mentioned John Reschke filling in for Ed Davis. Also, Shane Jones gets in there and forces that fumble, both of them at the same time. Jones was in as Riley Bulla went out a little gimpy on a previous play. So both backup linebackers. Just goes to show you the depth that this Michigan State team has. And that's Ron Burton, the defensive line coach that's been here in East Lansing for 3 years, but previous to that 10 years in Colorado Springs with the Air Force Academy. And a lot was made about him getting his defensive line ready for this option attack. They've been up to the task early.
They go to the I formation here on 1st and 10. Carson Roberts with a pitch. Leaping to get it was Jacoby Owens. Puts a nice move on Monte Nicholson. Gets the first down. All right, let's go back to the studio. Check in with Cassidy. A more conventional score here, 14-zip, Michigan State. Air Force got the first down there in their first play of this series, so they'll operate from their 37-yard line. And the quarterback keeping. Roberts grabbed at the ankles by Riley Bullows back on the field. Their leading tackler.
You know, with Ron Burton, the defensive line coach, it wasn't just about how you defend and play the option. That wasn't the only thing he did this week. Mark D'Antonio was telling us on Monday or Tuesday, he had him stand up in front of the team to give this Spartan team a sense as to what an Air Force cadet goes through during the course of a week, what kind of people and men that they are, who they're going to be playing against. I thought that was really cool.
Here's Owens on the pitch. And he's to midfield. There's a penalty flag down, though, at the line of scrimmage. That might negate a 12-yard run. And the Michigan State coaching staff told us they've been working on Air Force for about 6 months here and there.
Personal foul, chop block, number 58 and number 55, offense. 15-yard penalty, replay, second down.
So that's the center Alex Norton and the right guard A.J. Riekle, and Norton is shaken up for Air Force.
Yeah, and again, you know, this chop block it's going to be on the. They are right here. It's going to be aware by this umpire that's looking right at those guys. You can't go low and high at the same time, and that's going to be called every time. And the offensive line has to be on the same page, Dave, to where if you're going to cut a lineman, then it's one offensive lineman's job and responsibility. The other offensive lineman has to know if that guy's being cut, I can't engage him as I go up to the second level on a linebacker. I just can't do it. That's a penalty.
Well, there was one coach in college football this week that complained about cut blocking. Todd Graham, the Arizona State head coach, they were playing Cal Poly last week, and Cal Poly does a lot of cut blocking, and he made the point he thinks cut blocking should be outlawed in college football because of safety concerns. And it's not that cut blocking is something that can cause injuries as much as chop blocking, which can happen, obviously, because guys are trying to get off defenders and get to that second level. Here's Owens again, running room off that left side. He's to the 37-yard line. I checked that Washington getting the pitch.
No, I don't agree with Todd Graham's assessment. The cut block's been a part of football forever, and if it's done correctly, it can be safe and effective and something that a defense has to deal with. But to engage and then chop there's no part for that in football.
A third down and 10. And he'll keep it on the ground. Good run by Carson Roberts, but he comes up well short of the marker. It's fourth down. See if Air Force decides to go for it here. A fourth down and about 5. Flag on the play.
Holding, number 89, defense. The 10-yard penalty will be enforced. Correction, number 85, the 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run. First out.
So Evan Jones with the penalty. They corrected it, said it was number 85. Evan Jones who committed the holding. Let's check in with Tom.
Brian, Dave, when we talk about chop blocking or a cut block, which is legal, the aiming point wants to be from the mid-thigh up into this region. It's not the type of block that you anticipate at the knee or below. That's not how it's being taught at the academy. So the aiming point is critical, that you understand where it's at. That doesn't negate that you can't be engaged, though, with another guy while you're making that cut. But understand the aiming point is legal.
Big hole for Shane Davern inside the 30-yard line. Brought down to the 25. That's a 22-yard scamper by Shane Davern, who's the MVP of their bowl game last year.
Great adjustment by these guys up front. Take a look. If they're getting called for chops, they're going to come off, and now they're not going to chop. They're just going to stay high on the double. So there's no opportunity for a chop block. Great adjustment by Air Force.
Davern again on the ground, gets about 4. It's a great equalizer, isn't it, for a team that's undersized when you do this, when you cut block. Now we see it with Georgia Tech, obviously a school at a Power 5 conference, but for schools like Navy and Air Force, it's an equalizer.
Absolutely. Well, they're not going to come off the ball and just push teams around. especially a team of the front four like Michigan State. So they got to spread you out, confuse you. Great job here by the left guard.
Yeah.
Reacting to Joel Heath coming off. That's the second time that we've seen Michigan State defensive line react to that little short motion by Jacoby Owens. He's done a great job of, when you go in motion, being really sudden, and sometimes that'll get a defensive line to jump.
Offside, number 92 defense. Jumping into the neutral zone and causing a threatened lineman to react. 5-yard penalty. It's second down.
Jacoby Owens right here. He's going to come in motion, and watch how it affects Joel Heath. Sudden movement a lot of times will get a defensive line to jump, and that's something that they don't see every day either. It's not just the option, but it's the unorthodox motions by Jacoby Owens.
Already 88 rushing yards for Air Force. Michigan State gave up just 123 against Oregon and led the country in rush defense a year ago. Second down and 2. And Johnson burst through the line of scrimmage. First and goal, Air Force.
When you watch Carson Roberts, a quarterback, this is what's drawing Michigan State off sides. When the back moves, he's moving on the cadence of the quarterback.
Yep.
When we see Carson Roberts bark the cadence, that's when the back goes in motion. That's what's drawing the Spartans off sides on defense.
Well, it's the coordination, right? It's the coordination between Roberts and Owens. Not only do they go in short motion, but then Roberts will have the cadence, and he will turn quickly to the sideline to get a play from the sideline.
So Alex Norton, the center, going back to the locker room. Johnson grabbed at the legs by Evan Jones to save a touchdown, but still, that's a gain of 6 yards. So second and goal for Air Force, and again, it was 7-0 Michigan State. Air Force was driving, turned it over. The Spartans were turning for a touchdown. So good response by the Falcons.
That's a great response, and it's surprising in that, you know, they've made this adjustment in between the guard and center box to stop cutting these guys on the ground. They're just coming off the football, and they're getting 6-7 yards a clip.
No pass plays yet on this possession. And Roberts in trouble. Able to push forward and get near the goal line. Got away from Malik McDowell. That's hard to do. A great player up front for Michigan State. Third down and goal.
And a great adjustment by Michigan State to come in with 2 A-gap guys. Take a look right in the middle. They say, you're going to run it in there? We'll put 2 guys in there, and stuffed it. Little chess game going on now between Mark D'Antonio and Troy Calhoun.
Third down and goal from the 1. Washington going to walk in. Touchdown, Air Force.
Same look up front. Michigan State had to put 2 defenders in both A-gaps to stop the threat of DJ Johnson at 235 pounds right up the middle. And great adjustment by Troy Calhoun and Air Force to get the ball quickly to the perimeter. Washington walks in.
How about Air Force this year in the red zone? 8 for 8, all touchdowns. A lot of times when you talk red zone football, you think passing, but it's a team that can run the ball that has success in the red zone, as the point after by Early makes it a 14-7 game.
Well, if you're talking about a team that passes the ball in the red zone, that's difficult to do. Very small windows. Air Force doesn't need that. Just keep it on the ground.
AT&T. Keep your eyes on the road, not on your phone. It can wait.
Aided by a defensive holding penalty by Michigan State that gave Air Force an automatic first down. The Falcons march down the field 75 yards and get a touchdown. Right now the difference in the game, a fumble by Air Force inside the Spartan 40 that was returned for a touchdown. It's R.J. Shelton on the return here for MSU, and he gets lit up at the 12-yard line. The guy that scored the touchdown, Washington, comes right back on special teams and drills the return man.
Let's go back and take a look why Washington got so free. Look at this defense for Michigan State. All these guys have to respect that dive play, and then Washington just gets to the outside. This is the effect that inside running game with DJ Johnson has. They don't even block Shalik Calhoun, and Washington with the speed to the edge. And Dave, you know this better than anybody. You know, the more you can do, special teams, broadcasting, play-by-play analysis, the more valuable you are.
Yeah, working with crazy analysts and normal analysts like yourself, as London gets about a yard there on first down. Take a look at Air Force here, and the tailback getting the ball 8 times. There have been 2 fumbles, one by the quarterback on a pitch that was behind the tailback and recovered, and then the fullback fumble by Johnson that was returned for a touchdown.
Settled down. Carson was a little bit nervous. Who wouldn't be, right? You're coming into this environment going against a very good defense, but they've settled down on offense, and a couple of penalties helped them on that last drive.
Play action for Cook, has a ton of time, and getting separation is Burbridge to make the catch and get the Michigan State first down.
Is Aaron Burbridge going to be that playmaker for Michigan State, much like Tony Lippett was a year ago, that when you need a play, it's man-to-man coverage, he can separate. It looks like in this game, anytime it's one-on-one on the outside with Ladapo, Connor Cook feels comfortable throwing that go route to him and that comeback route. Good in and out of his breaks.
Michigan State has scored 30 or more points in 10 straight games, a school record. Beat Baylor and Oregon in 2 of their last 3 games. London spins out of a tackle, reaches the 28-yard line, a 3-yard gain for Madre London, who's gotten the bulk of the work here in the first quarter at tailback. We'll see a lot of L.J. Scott here today as well. So Michigan State a week removed from one of the biggest September wins the Spartans have had in a while, beating Oregon. Lead Air Force 14-7 after 1 quarter of play here in East Lansing. Back at Michigan State, Dave Pasch, Brian Greasy, Tom Luganville down on the field. The Spartans lead 14-7, but they have struggled to run the ball. Averaged just 3 yards per carry in that first quarter. They only got 1 on first down. So a 2nd and 9 from their own 26 as we start the second quarter here at Spartan Stadium. Cook moves up in the pocket and his pass off target. And here comes penalty markers. Cook got hit by Lachlan Deeks, and the flag was thrown right at Deeks, the defensive tackle.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 54, defense. 15-yard penalty for the previous spot. Automatic first down.
So instead of 3rd down and 9 for Michigan State, the Spartans with an automatic first down after the Deeks penalty.
Yeah, that's a big lapse for Troy Calhoun's defense. You get to the quarterback, there's no need to throw him down like that. Deeks saw the ball was gone. No need for that. And all that goodwill that was in the stadium now for this Air Force team coming in is pretty much gone. Throwing their quarterback around.
Yep.
Sorry, Dave.
And L.J. Scott in the game, we saw all London. He had all 7 carries for the Spartans in the first quarter. Scott was terrific against Oregon last week and breaks a couple of the tackles at the point of attack and runs it a steel hammer at the 44-yard line. That's a name, not an adjective. A gain of 3 on the play, 2nd and 7. There's Cody Keeler, the right tackle.
Yeah, he was injured in the game last week against Oregon. He's a big part of this offensive line. They're already starting a new left guard in Brian Allen. With Keeler going out at right tackle, they've had to move Donovan Clark, number 76, out to right tackle, and then Benny McGowan, number 75, has come in at right guard. So this is an offensive line that dealing with a little adversity.
And Scott slammed down after a gain of 2, so it'll put him in 3rd and 5. Tackle made by Connor Healy. You mentioned Brian Allen. He's the younger brother of Jack Allen, who's one of the best centers in the country.
Yeah, there's 2 really good players on this offensive line. Jack Allen, the captain, a senior at center, and then the left tackle. You see him there, 74, Jack Conklin. Those 2 guys are stalwarts. The questions are at the other positions. Donovan Clark has started a lot of games, but biggest surprise to me early in this game, Dave, is they haven't been able to come off the football on a much smaller defensive line for Air Force.
And now Cook out of an empty set here on 3rd down and 5. Cook has been sharp through the air. His pass incomplete, but a flag. Burbridge, the intended receiver, Hayes Lynn, apparently interfered with him. Another automatic first down for Michigan State after another 3rd down penalty by Air Force.
Oh, and Lynn was in great position. He recognized the route. Wasn't a great route. Burbridge just really running down the field, and Connor Cook was throwing the ball on the back shoulder and got there too soon.
Pass interference. Number 14, defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Alan Eck, our referee, a Mountain West crew. put his hands on him.
Yeah, that could have gone either way, though. I could have seen keeping that flag in the pocket.
Both guys going for the ball. I think the fact he put his right hand as well as his left hand on the receiver forced the foul.
Two big penalties on Air Force defense in this drive.
Yep. Cook back to the air. Oh, he gets hammered in the backfield. Sacked by maybe their best defensive player, Alex Hansen. That's his third sack of the season already.
And it was forced by great coverage. They want to throw a little bubble screen out here. Take a look. But it's covered well by Air Force. That steel hammer. We know he makes a lot of plays. It's great recognition. And then when Cook pulls that down, there's nowhere to go. I mean, when you call that as a senior quarterback and you call that bubble screen, you got to throw it. If you don't throw it, they're not blocking in front of you for you to run a quarterback draw. There's going to be people in your face.
That's the first sack Michigan State has given up this year. Cook steps up, looking to run, and he is inside the 35-yard line. Gain of 9 on the play for Cook. Makes it a third and manageable situation.
Good decision by Connor Cook. Pull that ball down. Not only does he get in a third manageable situation, but he also brings field goal back into play.
And you know, we saw it when we did the Cotton Bowl last year. He'd make a poor decision, come back and make a great decision. He had the poor decision on the bubble screen. Comes right back and makes a smart play.
And now there's no doubt in these third and medium situations, he loves to find his tight end, Josiah Price. He's lined up right here attached to the formation.
Caught a touchdown pass earlier in the game on 3rd and 9. This is 3rd and 5, and Connor Cook going to call a timeout. Play clock was at 2. First taken by Sparty, 2 remaining. For a touchdown, and look at the play selection, and that pass for Air Force was a screen pass, otherwise all run plays. They're having success running the ball, really not a surprise, but Michigan State is not, and that's why the Spartans are in a 3rd down and 5 situation. They've been in 3rd down a lot in this first half. And Cook gonna keep it here, close to the 1st down. Looks like he'll be just short. Connor Healy on the tackle. Got to imagine that play was called because they knew if they didn't get it, they're going for it on 4th down, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think that they're going to let Michael Geiger come out and attempt here. But how about a little taste of your own medicine? Michigan State giving Air Force a little option to look at.
And Cook's a big guy. He weighs about as much as the linebackers for Air Force. So
I think they brought in their big back, L.J. Scott, at 235 pounds. Probably power O downhill.
Pendleton, the fullback, in here. A couple of tight ends. 4th down and a yard. It's Scott trying to bust it to the outside and then stretches to get the 1st down. It wasn't easy. He was in the grasp of Kalen Baker, but able to move the sticks.
Well, it looked like Dexter Walker, the outside linebacker, number 5, got in the backfield, and it took some athletic ability there by Scott. Make one guy miss and just does get the 1st down.
Scott, a true freshman from Hubbard, Ohio. Had 2 second-half touchdowns against Oregon last week, including a 38-yard scamper that clinched the game. Michigan State beat the Ducks 31-28.
Where Michigan State might like to take a shot over the top, the red zone fringe.
And that's what's going to happen. Cook going downfield for Burbridge. What a catch! But out of bounds, incomplete.
I don't know. We got to take a look at this catch. Watch the left foot. Does it touch the ground?
On the field, it's an incomplete pass.
Ooh, wow. No, I think that might be a touchdown. I thought I saw a little dirt come up. What a great catch.
Man.
By Burbridge. Great play call. Aggressive. Dave Warner, the offensive coordinator.
Previous play, rolling.
Yeah, if that left foot touches
tippy toe
in the end zone first, it's a touchdown. Let's see. Did he get it down? Oh,
beautiful,
yeah.
Beautiful.
Incredible grab. You called it. You said take a shot here. They did. Burbridge had separation.
You just get the sense, you know, when you're watching this offense for Michigan State. They had those 2 penalties that extended the drive on the Air Force defense. They had to really fight, scratch, and claw to get a 4th down conversion. And then you just sense Dave Warner in his head to say, you know what, enough of this. I'm at the 30-yard line. I'm going to let my quarterback and my wide receiver that's burgeoning as my go-to guy, let him make a play against man coverage. And Burbridge, beautiful catch in the end zone.
The language now is indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt, and that this is going to get overturned.
I think that would, look that up in the dictionary, which should show the dirt flying up in the air, right? Indisputable video evidence.
Dave Nowak, our replay official. That would be the 2nd touchdown catch for Burbridge, 2nd touchdown pass for Cook today, and 6th on the year.
After further review, the receiver got his left foot down, inbounds, with third control of the ball. Touchdown.
Well, maybe Cook has found his guy, his big play receiver in Aaron Burbridge.
How many times did we see Tony Lippett make these kinds of plays last year? He probably had a couple of SportsCenter top 10s a year ago, and Aaron Burbridge looks like he may have his first one of this season.
10-play, 87-yard drive. And remember, a penalty by Air Force, 2 penalties by Air Force that gave Michigan State automatic first downs, helped keep that drive going. Geiger's point after makes it 21-7. Spartans here at home. Spartans ranked 4th this week, took a couple of first-place votes from Ohio State. They're 2-0, beat Western Michigan on the road, Oregon at home. They've got Central Michigan next week. All of their difficult Big Ten games, at least on paper, are on the road. They've got Indiana, Maryland, Penn State at home, Purdue at home. They go to Michigan, to Nebraska, and of course to Columbus November 21st to play Ohio State. Driscoll. And that may have gone out of bounds. It did. And so Air Force backed up to its 8-yard line. He got a little careless with the football there trying to scoop it up. And it cost the Falcons.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake there. Let that ball either roll into the end zone for a touchback or let it maybe go out of bounds and get to 35.
Now, for folks that know Big Ten football and Michigan State football in particular, Pat Narduzzi became a household name because of the job he did as defensive coordinator for Michigan State. People wondered when would he leave and take a head coaching job. That finally happened in the offseason. He took the Pittsburgh head coaching job. But a smooth transition with Harlan Barnett, who had been on the staff. He's the play caller on defense. He's a co-coordinator along with Mike Tressel. He's in his 9th year on the staff. On first down, here's Washington, who has the Air Force touchdown, and he's driven out of play by true freshman Andrew Dowell.
You got to give Mark D'Antonio a lot of credit, too, for the succession plan for Pat Narduzzi. He knew that Narduzzi eventually was going to take a job. He's too good a coach. He's going to get that opportunity. But he had a plan in place. He actually had the conversation with Mike Tressel and Harlan Barnett. Hey, if and when we lose Pat Narduzzi, do you guys want to be the co-coordinators? And both of them stood up and said absolutely. And so they were ready. There was no question what was going to happen as the leadership of this defense. And then you still have D'Antonio, who was a defensive mastermind and overseeing all of it.
And he was at Ohio State for a while with Jim Tressel as part of that national championship group. As the wide receiver Garrett Brown is the ball carrier, he's pushed out. There's a penalty flag down in the secondary after a 9-yard gain. But D'Antonio went to Cincinnati and got the Michigan State job a decade ago. And he was up and down the first few years. People were wondering, is he the right guy? But boy, he has shown that he's one of the best coaches in college football with what he's been able to do here.
Chop block, number 58, offense.
That's a third one.
Distance to the goal. Replay, check it down.
That's the third one on Air Force. But just to finish up on D'Antonio, you got a 13-win season 2 years ago, winning the Big Ten. Last year, 11 wins, with the lone losses to the 2 teams that played for the national title, Oregon and Ohio State.
Yeah.
Off to a great start this year. I don't think he gets talked about enough when you talk about the great head coaches in college football. Plus, he's adapted. He's a defensive guy, Grease, and now they're about offense. They're about get the ball down the field, score points.
Well, and the national narrative around Mark D'Antonio at Michigan State's always been, that they were overlooked, a chip on the shoulder. I think that's baloney. This is one of the best coaches in all of college football in Mark D'Antonio, and people need to realize that.
DJ Johnson straight ahead, keeps the feet moving, gets to the 12-yard line before he stood up and bent over by Riley Bullock coming in with a hit.
Well, and you mentioned adapting. You know, I think that Mark D'Antonio certainly was fired up as anybody about the way that they played offensively a year ago, leading the nation in time of possession, which is for a defensive head coach, right? This wasn't just some pinball machine, you know, go as fast as we can, put our defense on in bad situations. This was an offense that was productive, but they also took a lot of time off the clock.
You played for defensive coaches that want to run the ball, play good special teams, play good on defense, but not necessarily attack an offense. But that's not the case with Michigan State. Nowhere to go for Carson Roberts. Wrestled to the ground by Lawrence Thomas, and it will be a punt here for Air Force. The one area that Michigan State has struggled this year is special teams, giving up a punt return for a touchdown, a kick return for a score as well, but they've won the kicking battle so far, thanks to that last kickoff that went off of an Air Force player, not out of bounds, at the 8-yard line, so you knew the Falcons were going to have trouble moving the ball. And a very short kick, a liner to Kings. And he only gets a couple on that punt return. Good job by the Air Force Gunners, but Michigan State will start in Air Force territory. Midway through quarter number 2, it's Michigan State by 2 scores. Right now is from the Big Ten, but he was a 6th-round pick. talking about Tom Brady.
There's a lot of Big Ten quarterbacks in the NFL, but they haven't been hyped coming out of college, if you say.
You were a 3rd-round pick, played 11 years in the NFL.
I'll give him a hint. You got to go even further back from me.
London wrapped up at the line of scrimmage, maybe even lost a yard. Well, we may have a Big Ten quarterback picked in the 1st round this year. Might have a few. Here's Mel Kiper's top quarterbacks. Jared Goff from Cal. Christian Hackenberg. These are in order according to Mel. Cardale Jones, Connor Cook. He has a late 1st, possibly a 2nd-round pick.
I don't know that I agree with Mel's picks right there. I like Goff. I love Goff. You know, the guy that should be on that is Cody Kessler, in my opinion.
He's number 5 on Kiper's list. I think it's about the Big Ten. That's why we just showed the 4 there.
Big Ten, well, Jared Goff.
But he's number 1. You got to put him on there as Cook faces pressure. Throws incomplete. David Harris in the face of Connor Cook, so it's 3rd down and long.
What I'm saying is Mel should have Kessler above those guys in the Big Ten, in my opinion.
Isn't it hard to, as you look at Hackenberg and Cardale Jones, for different reasons, it's really hard to judge. Hackenberg gets hit almost every play. He's thrown more picks than touchdowns. And Cardale Jones has only started a handful of games in college football. Granted, he won a national title.
And you got a lot of money from the NFL, these general managers, and a lot of pressure to get that decision right. It's why it's the most difficult evaluation in all of sports, is evaluating college quarterbacks going to the next level and playing in the NFL.
Connor Cook on 3rd down and 11. And wide open in the middle of the field is Burbridge. A 1st down to the 20-yard line. A 25-yard pass play.
Michigan State knows they're going to get man-to-man coverage almost on every snap, and so they run a little crossing route. R.J. Shelton goes out, Burbridge comes in. That's an easy throw and catch for Aaron Burbridge.
Cook throwing again. This one incomplete, trying to hit McGarrett Kings.
When you look at the Big Ten Conference, you can.
That was Tom trying to get in there. We lost Tom's mic. Weather is causing some problems down in the field for the microphone. We'll try to get Lewis back in here soon.
This game's an opportunity for Connor Cook, just finishing on these quarterbacks to continue to grow with a set of receivers that really wasn't asked to do a whole lot a year ago because of Keith Mumphrey and Tony Lippett. So Aaron Burbridge, every ball he catches is a positive.
They bring DeAnthony Arnett into the game, a wide receiver. They hand it off to him, but he's brought down after a 2-yard gain by Grant Ross. So this will be another 3rd and long here for MSU.
And Arnett is another receiver in this stable that Mark D'Antonio says we've been waiting on him. He transferred from Tennessee, a lot of talent, speed. but really hasn't been able to put it together on a consistent basis. McGarrett Kings, R.J. Sheldon, this is a group that they're going to need to continue to make plays if this team is going to go where they are capable of going, which, as we know, November 21st in Ohio State is a big hurdle.
Third down and long has not been a problem for Cook so far. Here he is on 3rd and 8, and he threw that one away. I don't know if there was confusion with him and the tight end Josiah Price.
I don't think there was confusion with the receivers. I think he just had to get rid of that football. Take a look right here. Right up the middle, the left guard, Brian Allen, we talked about him, his inexperience. He sets out. There's nobody to take the blitzing linebacker, Connor Healy, had to get rid of that football. It's a good play by Connor Cook. You take a sack there and you put more pressure on your kicker. You have a bust up front, free runner, throw the ball over the receiver as far as you can out of bounds.
Michael Geiger missed a 28-yarder last week against Oregon. He's missing some short ones in warm-ups as we were down on the field. And blocked. Yeah, got blocked at the line of scrimmage. That looked like a really low kick.
Oh, man. Watching Geiger in pregame warm-ups, he did not look confident kicking the football. And that ball looked like it came out real low. May have hit Donovan Clark in the back.
So special teams a problem again for Michigan State. Blocked by David Harris for Air Force. 21-7 Michigan State. For Air Force, the 5th of his career, 2nd this year. It was an extremely low kick though by Geiger. So Air Force takes over on its 20-yard line, down 2 scores. It's Davern, and he is slammed to the ground at the 24-yard line by Joel Heath.
Here's Hansen right here. You know, Geiger had some surgery, some hip surgery in the offseason, Dave, and he struggled. He struggled a week ago, missed a 28-yarder. He struggled at the end of last year, and you just wonder where is his head with that surgery, and maybe kickers are finicky. You know, they have things that go on in their body, and if everything's not clicking right, it can get in their head, and Geiger needs to push through it.
And can Michigan State be a serious national title contender with problems on special teams? And it's not just the kicker. They've allowed 2 returns for touchdowns this year. Late pitch, and Michigan State all over Owens. Monte Nicholson is a good-looking sophomore at 6'2", 220. Along with McDowell on the tackle, so a 3rd down and long.
Well, and that's one that I think the Air Force coaching staff would have hoped that Carson Roberts would continue to push to the edge. You know, he had a seam there for the quarterback to run, and if you continue to push that and you climb on that 2nd level, then that opens up more pitch opportunities, but Carson Roberts pitched it a little early.
Air Force yet to convert on 3rd down. They've been in 3rd and long a lot. When you're a team that doesn't throw the ball, you're not going to convert on 3rd and long. A little bit more manageable 3rd and 6. This is a backwards pass to Robinette. First time that he's touched it, and he's brought down by Nicholson short of the marker. It'll be 4th down.
Yeah, we're saying Monte Nicholson, his name more and more as this season. Expect him to continue to grow. He's an outstanding safety, a true sophomore, a guy that Mark D'Antoni and this defensive staff say they have got to get on the field. At 6'2", 220 pounds, but he's one of the faster players in that secondary, and from that safety position, he comes up and makes a ton of plays.
Another line drive punt by Dunn, and fair catch made at the 36-yard line by McGarrett Kings. Here's Cassidy. And here, one of Michigan's chief rivals, Michigan State, in command. 21-7 over Air Force. Just a week ago, the Spartans knocked off Oregon. They had lost the last couple years early non-conference games. Oregon last year, Notre Dame 2 years ago, but they took care of business last week. And on the ground, it's L.J. Scott, the true freshman, out to the 40, a 4-yard pickup. All right, let's answer the Aflac trivia question.
Aflac
The last time the Big Ten had a quarterback selected in the first round pre-Greasy, PG.
Kerry Collins.
Yeah. Number 5 overall by Penn State, Carolina Panthers, when they were an expansion team.
That's an amazing stat, to be honest with you. I mean, you think of all the quarterbacks drafted in the first round that come from other conferences that haven't done well, you know, and all the, we've got a lot of quarterbacks that weren't drafted, as we mentioned, in the first round that have done really well from the Big Ten Conference.
Scott dragged down from behind as he is chased down for a loss at the 35-yard line. Dunn on the stop.
You know, this defensive front for Air Force, they're giving a lot of looks. Steve Russ, the defensive coordinator, some 3-man front. They're walking guys up. I think they're confusing to some degree Michigan State's offensive front from an assignment standpoint. And then on top of it, the speed and quickness at the point of attack is negating the power and strength of Michigan State. That's why you're seeing a lot of penetration in the backfield and very little yards coming from this offensive run package for Michigan State.
Problem is Air Force can't get Michigan State off the field on 3rd and long. Cook on 3rd and 10 from the pocket, waits, and a receiver comes open. A first down catch by R.J. Shelton at midfield. 14 yards through the air.
Great protection. This offensive line has had some gaps in it, in protection in particular, but great job up front. There was a twister there. Steve Russ, defensive coordinator, tried to bring an exotic twist on a 3rd down, and it came back to bite him because no pressure on Connor Cook. He's able to survey the field and wait for Shelton to come open in the middle.
Cook on 3rd down is 3 of 4. 55 yards, a touchdown pass to Josiah Price on 3rd and 9 in the red zone of the first quarter. 2 timeouts remaining for the Spartans as they look to cross midfield. It's L.J. Scott inside the 45-yard line. A 6-yard run for Scott before he's brought down by Roland Latipo.
They've made a change up front. They've moved Donovan Clark into the guard position from right tackle. They weren't happy with Benny McGowan in the first quarter of this game, so they move Clark. You see how physical he is, big, 325 pounds, and they bring Miguel Machado, a junior, who was a junior college transfer in at right tackle. So they're shifting and moving a little bit and trying to find that 5 guys up front that they like best on the offensive line.
Scott again, and this time he's brought down at the line of scrimmage. DJ Dunn there again. He's made 2 plays for Air Force from his strong side linebacker position here on this drive. So another 3rd down for Michigan State. Spartans have been fantastic on 3rd down so far in the game, especially through the air. We'll see if they take a shot here.
Well, what's been successful for Air Force on 3rd downs has been walking those linebackers up in the gaps and trying to confuse the guards. We saw it happen to Brian Allen the last drive. See if they're able to do it again here.
Gerald Holmes in the game. Did not get an attempt last week against Oregon. Had 9 rushes in the first game, but Cook to throw. And here's Shelton on the catch. And Shelton wrestled out of bounds, but he got the first down at the 39-yard line with 50 seconds to go in the half.
That's great patience by Connor Cook. Recognizing edge pressure coming right at him. An unblocked defender. Just get the ball out in your playmaker's hands, and they've got to make a play for you. Stare down that gun barrel. You know you're going to get hit. Big 3rd down. Great effort by R.J. Shelton. Those aren't big plays on the stat sheet, but that's a huge play to extend a drive in a 3rd down situation. It's not pretty, but it's effective.
They're now 5 of 7 on 3rd down.
Great job out here, Jack Allen, noticing blitz and changing the play.
Another pass play from Cook. He's in trouble and throws it away.
Well, that was a case of, you know, you had a pass call. Jack Allen, their senior captain at center, makes the adjustment, gets it picked up, and now the flag comes out, and they're going to call intentional grounding on Connor Cook.
You know, to me, Brian, I didn't see any difference between that one and the one on the earlier drive where they didn't call it.
Receiver that side of the field.
Number 18, offense. There were no receivers in the area of the pass. The quarterback could not leave the pocket before he threw the ball away.
In the back of your mind as a quarterback, you have to have an emergency out. You got to have a ripcord to know that if you're in trouble, you know where to get rid of that football and throw it out of bounds. That ball, there's nobody there. The receiver is all the way downfield, whereas he threw the ball way quicker on the previous one you're mentioning, and it went right over the receiver's head.
So 45 seconds remaining, and Michigan State calls a timeout. 1 left.
Great job, Chad Kelly. Welcome to the SEC tonight.
So you think Alabama's going to win tonight and take care of that offense?
Well, I think whichever quarterback plays better is going to win, because Alabama has their own quarterback questions. We don't know. Cooper Bateman, is he going to play?
All right, Jake Coker's been up and down. Yep. 2nd and 19 for Michigan State. 45 seconds to go in the half. 1 timeout remaining. Cook with a ton of time, and now the pocket breaks down. Here comes a flag. Cook sacked by Alex Hansen.
Hansen was going up against Miguel Machado, that new right tackle, and it looked like he got his hands up around the face mask of Miguel Machado.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Number 87, defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot.
Might be the most personal fouls we've ever seen in a first half. That's a handful now on Air Force. We've seen chop blocks, roughing the passer, illegal hands to the face.
And they've been really snake bit. I mean, you think about Alex Hansen. Look, he's trying to get leverage there. Hansen only 260 pounds, and Miguel Machado threw over 300. So he's trying to get leverage, and that hand goes up in the face mask.
Cook going deep. Burbridge inside the 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan State. Second touchdown catch of the game for Aaron Burbridge, and the 3rd thrown by Connor Cook. Geiger with a point after makes it 28-7 Michigan State.
State knows they're going to get man-to-man coverage, so they're going to use their tight end Josiah Price just to get a little rub. He's right here. He's just going to take his time and come off, and they're going to switch release, as they call it. Watch how it affects the coverage in man-to-man against Air Force. Great job of avoiding by Burbridge. Great recognition by Connor Cook, and then you put that together with good up-front protection. Jack Allen and his crew. This had to be a resilient Michigan State offense. It hasn't been pretty. They've gone forward, backwards. They've had penalties. They've had some mistakes. But at the end of the day, Connor Cook and Aaron Burbridge, boy, they're on the same page. And it pays off when you have a quarterback and a receiver that spend the time in the offseason and practice. And Burbridge really embracing this role that's been left by Tony Lippett. And Connor Cook's got ultimate respect and trust in him.
So we'll see how Air Force handles the final 28 seconds. If it just takes a knee. Following the kickoff by Cronin. And 21 points on offense for Michigan State, and a defensive touchdown by R.J. Williamson. This one hammered into the ground. Driscoll again has trouble with it. And he can't reach the 20. Brought down at the 16-yard line. Jalen Watts Jackson with a special teams tackle. Well, we wondered at the top of the telecast, would there be the possibility of a letdown, at least emotionally, after the Oregon win? I think that question's been answered. Michigan State's very focused in this game. They haven't been able to run the ball as well as maybe they thought they would, and they've had some trouble stopping the run. They knew that might be an issue against Air Force, but they got a 3-touchdown lead. Here's Owens. Wrapped up by Nicholson, and that should be the final play of the first half. Now Aaron Burbridge with 5 catches, 112 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Michigan State. As Troy Calhoun says that's enough, let's go to the locker room. Burbridge with back-to-back 100-yard games receiving. And 3 touchdown passes by Connor Cook. Our halftime score, Michigan State 28, Air Force 7. John Saunders, Mark May, Mac Brown will join you next. Tom Luganbill We'll talk with Mark D'Antonio. We'll check in on Michigan and a preview of Ohio State. The Cooper Tires halftime report coming up after these messages. Offense, and it was mostly through the air. They did struggle to run the football, as Mark D'Antonio told Tom Luganville at halftime. Pash Brian Greasy. We wondered going into the year who would be the receiver that would step up and be that go-to guy for Connor Cook. It has been Aaron Burbridge, and he is the subject of our Good Hands play brought to you by Allstate.
Yeah, 5 catches, 112 yards, and a couple of touchdowns in the first half. And, you know, it's pretty clear that Connor Cook trusts him implicitly. You see these balls thrown in tight man-to-man coverage. He has the ability to go up with these great hands, physical and strong, and come down with the football. That time with the third down, this is the touchdown, which may be one of the catches of the year so far in college football. Got that left foot down, and then, you know, when you insert him in the middle of the field, man-to-man coverage, and he can finish these plays, they need Aaron Burbridge and Connor Cook and that connection to continue to grow. And Mark D'Antonio, I think, is really excited about the way they played in the first half.
They lost Keith Mumphrey, Tony Lippett, who was a first-team All-Big Ten and led the conference in receiving yards. But Burbridge, a senior from Farmington Hills, Michigan, with back-to-back 100-yard games. Had 101 yards against Oregon last week. A touchback, and we'll come out to the 25 for Michigan State. Let's look at our Pacific Life game summary. R.J. Williamson with a big play. A forced fumble by John Reschke, and Williamson returns it 64 yards to make it 14-0. And then Burbridge with just that beautiful grab in the end zone. He's got 3 touchdowns now in the season, 2 in the first half.
As good as they threw the ball in the first half, as efficient as Connor Cook was, 9 of 13, I think the second half is going to be all about establishing this run game.
And here's London on first down, being chased from behind. Brought down for a loss of 1. Roland Latipo. And Michigan State averaged only about 2 yards per carry in that first half. And they had Jeremy Langford, a 1,500-yard back last year, a 4th-round pick of the Bears. So they're replacing him with London, a redshirt freshman, and L.J. Scott, a true freshman. We might see some more Gerald Holmes in the second half. They want to get him some work as well.
Not only did they lose Jeremy Langford, they also lost Nick Hill, 620 or so yards, and Delton Williams had some yards a year ago, and now he's the 3rd option in this attack. So they lost 3 guys.
Cook on 2nd and 11, surveying the field, and finds Burbridge again for a first down to the 39, a 15-yard pickup.
You know, talking to Air Force coach Troy Calhoun coming out after halftime, he liked how his defense was playing, but wanted to get some punts on 3rd down. 3rd down has been the arch nemesis of Air Force on defense. They've come with a lot of different stuff. They played the run really, really well, but they've also isolated themselves in man-to-man coverage, which is an athletic mismatch. On the flip side, offensively, when Air Force gets the football, I asked them some unique questions. We'll get back to that later, Dave.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
I'd like to hear the response Coach gave Luke's about the Luke's question.
They're 5 of 7 on 3rd down. Cook drops back to throw. And through the hands of the intended receiver, McGarrett Kings. Incomplete. Kings shaken up.
You hope, and any time a receiver's in that kind of situation where his arms are extended and he's going down and the back of his head hits the ground, you worry about any head injuries.
Kings, a senior from Fort Lauderdale, came into the game with 8 catches on the season. Did not catch a pass in the first half.
Extend those arms and your momentum continues to go. Then he gets pushed back. Defender coming at Steelhammer comes down on top of him, and the back of his helmet hits the ground pretty hard.
He's now on the Michigan State sideline. So 2nd and 10 for Michigan State, just short of its 40-yard line. Connor Cook with 3 first-half touchdown passes, 158 yards through the air. Rollout here for Cook, and a throw on target to the 42-yard line of Air Force. R.J. Shelton with his 4th catch of the day. He had 4 in the first 2 games combined this season.
Good accurate throw from Connor Cook, and Shelton is another guy that needs to begin to pop on this offense for Michigan State. That's not an easy throw on the move. Connor Cook can't He doesn't have the luxury of pulling up, getting his feet under him, because it is a rollout and you don't know what's coming from behind you, so it's got to be delivered on the move. That was well done.
Cook was the Big Ten championship game MVP when they beat Ohio State a couple years ago, then the Rose Bowl MVP. Had the game-winning touchdown pass at the Cotton Bowl to beat Baylor last year. Madre London gets the carry and gets only a yard. Again, Air Force does a pretty good job in the box bringing down the running back. Short gain.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Alex Hansen, this senior defensive end for Air Force. He had the blocked field goal. That time he fights off a double team and gets in for a stop in a short game. But he has been up to the challenge. He's been able to rush the passer. He got that one hands to the face penalty, but that's just going to happen when you're rushing the passer sometimes. He's an outstanding football player, and Steve Russ, their defensive coordinator, said without question he's their best player in this front seven.
260 going up against guys that are 315, 320 on the Michigan State offensive line. Cook lobbing it downfield. The pass is incomplete, intended for Arnett, who stumbled, got tripped up by Latipo and could not pull it in. There is a penalty flag thrown, actually 2 flags down in the backfield.
There were 2 fouls during the play. Holding, number 65, offense. Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 87, defense. The foul's offset. Replay, second down.
Again, another personal foul on Alex Hansen. It doesn't count because of the foul against Michigan State, but
as soon as I see all those nice things about Alex Hansen, he does this to me. Come on now, rush. He's going to rush hard. You got a great motor, but you got to understand. And that wasn't Alex Hansen. That was he got the number wrong. So I'm going to take that back. That was not Alex Hansen.
Yeah, that was 97. Santo Coppola.
Sorry, Alex.
Well, Alan Eck
I'll
should
say
apologize.
sorry
The referee.
for Alan Eck. Yeah.
Here's Cook, wide open in the middle of the field. Arnett, another first down to the 32-yard line. He just can't generate continuous pressure on Connor Cook.
You know, I want to go back, Dave, because that last attempt down the field to DeAnthony Arnett was something I really like by Connor Cook. He knows what he has now, I think, in Aaron Burbridge, and he found man-to-man coverage, and he said, you know what, this time I'm going to give another receiver an opportunity to go up and make a play and build some confidence. And Arnett beat the wide receiver, just didn't catch the football, and that's what this coaching staff for Michigan State's been waiting to see from DeAnthony Arnett, and it was a missed opportunity.
London between the tackles finds a gap. Close to another first down at the 22-yard line.
That's what we're talking about. Second half, Michigan State's offensive staff would love to see this run game get going, to get confidence in their young running backs as well, Madre London and L.J. Scott. And then those 2 guys that are new up front, Brian Allen and Benny McGowan or Miguel Machado. Got to begin to get some rhythm with that offensive line.
They have co-offensive coordinators, Dave Warner, a former quarterback at Syracuse, Jim Ballman, who was the OC at Ohio State. Cook off play action. Burbridge again. Touchdown, Michigan State. That's 3 for Burbridge. Connor Cook, 4 touchdown passes through the first 2 games, 4 today. Geiger has had no trouble with extra points despite having some issues on short field goals. He's made 95 in a row. That's a school record. As Connor Cook dealing, finding Aaron Burbridge quickly coming his favorite receiver. That's 3 touchdown grabs for the senior wide receiver. 48 yards, a career high. Die-hard Spartan fans in attendance.
He's getting he's taking advantage of that warm weather.
We only got a few more weeks here in Michigan, so might as well get it in. It's in the 60s though. It's not like it's 80 or anything.
Yeah, he's flying the colors over the stadium, doing his part.
And he's flying solo is what he is. There's nobody anywhere near him in the same garb or lack thereof. Here's Williams after the short kickoff, and he is wrapped up and wrestled to the ground at the 20-yard line.
You know, Dave, with these touchdown throws, everybody wants to look at the quarterback. I love to show these blitzes and how they get picked up. Take a look at what Air Force does on the outside. What I want you to see is look at the quarterback, Connor Cook. His eyes, he's faking run fake while both of his backs are picking up this blitz. That's a great job by Madre London, a redshirt freshman, recognizing that blitz. Even though Connor Cook may not have recognized it and he thought he was going to carry out the fake, his backs had his back. That's what you want from your running backs, and that's something that Mark D'Antonio is going to teach off tomorrow in the film room, and that can get your offensive staff really excited.
On first down from the 20, the quarterback Carson Roberts keeps it, and Roberts has the first down before he's tackled at the 33. Let's go to Cassidy in the studio. Minnesota was so close against TCU and then went to overtime against Colorado State as Jacoby Owens all the way to midfield at 17 yards before Monte Nicholson is able to tackle him. You know, it's always a pleasure. We get to call an Air Force game and talk with the coaches and the players about their commitment, obviously, to our country and also to football when they have so many other things going on. It's only about a 15-hour-a-week commitment. Their practices are shorter than most teams. And you can't redshirt players either. Oh, big hit at the point of attack on DJ Johnson by Lawrence Thomas. No gain.
You know, this Air Force offense for Troy Calhoun coming out, you know, struggled a little bit with their normal cut blocking schemes, got called for 3 chop blocks in the first half. They line up in the I formation on back-to-back downs, run it right downhill at the teeth of this Michigan State defense, and then now we see them get back into the normal formation and get stopped. Here they are now back in the I, a little bit of a change up to start off third quarter.
They lost their center, Alex Norton. He's out with an injury, so Dylan Vale is in. Remember, Carson Roberts is the backup quarterback. There's Davern, and he gets good yardage on second down. There's Norton. Right leg and a boot.
The Air Force coaches were telling us that how excited they are about Norton. He's a sophomore. You know, at the Air Force, they don't redshirt, so that they're at a little bit of a disadvantage there. But these guys sometimes come in and play right away. But Dylan Vale is a junior, out of Friendswood, Texas. He's got a lot on his plate now. One of the most explosive players in all of college football lined up right over his nose, and Malik McDowell at 6'6", 280 pounds.
Davern picks up the first down to the 38-yard line. A 4-yard gain there for Shane Davern. 9 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Michigan State by 28.
You know, just to pick up on what you were talking about there, the commitment that these young men, these cadets make. I thought it was really cool to hear this week from the coaching staff for Michigan State, and specifically Ron Burton, who was a defensive line coach at Air Force for 10 years. He got up in front of his team and talked about what commitment these guys make on a daily basis.
How about this? A pass play and a passing touchdown. Jalen Robinette wide open. That's the second pass thrown today by Air Force, and the other one was a screen pass. Needless to say, the Spartans were surprised.
Well, Jalen Robinette is probably the most physically gifted player on this offense for Air Force at 6'4", 215 pounds, and he's able to run. And when they do throw it, which they don't throw it very often, when they do, they go to Jalen Robinette.
So a 6-play, 80-yard drive. The extra point makes it 35-14. That's the second touchdown catch for Robinette, and the 4th career touchdown pass by Carson Roberts. Boom. 3C1, Pash nothing. All right, we get a long season, pal.
I don't know. Maybe Bill Walton agrees with me.
Who? R.J. Shelton. It's a touchback. It'll come out to the 25.
No, this was a great throw from Carson, but take a look at this reaction by these guys on the outside for Michigan State. You have to respect this option game, and all of a sudden, Jalen Robinette, I mean, that's just wide open. But this is Carson Roberts. As you look forward to the Mountain West Conference and their schedule, this is a team now that's going to need Carson Roberts. And so this second half, obviously this game's out of reach, but in the second half of this game, I think Troy Calhoun's trying to get some confidence in his quarterback. He knows this is going to be Carson Roberts' year, and they've got talent to compete with Boise and CSU. They need to get some confidence.
Cook off play action and almost a one-handed catch. It was behind Felton Davis, true freshman, getting some action here in the second half. We talked about the commitments to be an Air Force cadet. Military commitment to serve active duty after football. You talked about you can't redshirt. How about you have to run a mile and a half in 11 minutes and 15 seconds, actually. Football, about 15 hours a week. And your practices are an hour 20 at the most, which is lower than other schools.
And it's pretty, I mean, they do more with less time. I mean, this is not, they don't just have a vanilla offense and a vanilla defense. They have very complicated systems. And so for them to be able to do that in that amount of time is really amazing. But and I think, you know, just to finish off with Ron Burton, the defensive line coach, getting up in front of Michigan State and their players to give them a little bit of a respect for who they're going against. And this game has been well played. There's been some personal fouls, but overall, I think the respect between Michigan State and Air Force really has been good today. And a big part of that has to do with Ron Burton talking to his team.
We asked the Air Force coaches, all right, most teams, when they bring in a speaker, they bring in, Michigan brings in a Brian Greasy, somebody to talk to the team. These guys bring in senators, guys that have served in the military for a long period of time, as that pass to Burbridge is incomplete. One of their most famous academy graduates that's in sports is five-time NBA champion head coach Greg Popovich. Doesn't watch a lot of sports, but he watches all Air Force football games. And Troy Calhoun tells us after a big win, sometimes he'll get back to the office and there's a nice bottle of vino, courtesy of Coach Pop.
Good for Pop. I like that.
And Troy himself, an Air Force Academy graduate.
And again, I mean, you can't reiterate enough the job that he did a year ago, turning his 2013 season 2-10 to last year 10-3, beating Boise and CSU. Outstanding job of coaching by Troy Calhoun.
A poor punt. It'll be Air Force ball at the 42-yard line with Michigan State leading 35-14. Line, but
there you are.
See Aurora the Falcon.
I can see the game, Dave. A similar haircut.
Okay. You should have stopped at the comment that when he had the blinders on that he calls a game like what I do when I call a game. You were up 1-0 after that. Should have left it at that. And the quarterback, Carson Roberts, keeping on first down. Gets about 7. Let's bring in our ESPN National Recruiting Director, Tom Luganbill, for more Michigan State and its class.
No, as good a job as Mark D'Antoni.
And again, having issues with go ahead, Tom.
You guys, we'll wait till this next play, Dave.
All right. 2nd and 3. Apologize for the technical difficulties there, but we'll get back down to Tom. 2nd and 3 for Air Force, down 35-14 midway through the third. Late pitch and big hole here for Owens in Michigan State territory. Stood up at the 45-yard line. Again, Air Force having success running the ball on Michigan State's defense.
And again, you can see Carson Roberts starting to get a little bit more comfortable reading the edge. There's Lawrence Thomas, takes it all the way. Good block on the perimeter. Lawrence Thomas is a guy that, last year Dave played mostly defensive tackle, and because they've had Malik McDowell and Evans really emerge at that tackle position, they've been able to move Lawrence Thomas back out to end.
We didn't really call Shalik Calhoun's name often. He was, as the ball's on the ground, it's scooped up by Andrew Dowell. The second turnover by Air Force. Jacoby Owens coughs it up. Michigan State ball.
Sometimes it's tough. You know, that ball laid up there a little bit. Jacoby Owens just took his eyes off of it for one instant to look downfield, and that's all it takes. Just like a receiver when they take their eyes off the ball in reception. Same thing with a running back off the pitch, and that's normally Air Force, one of the best in all of college football at operating this option. Troy Calhoun's a little bit disappointed. That's the second fumble off the option.
Yeah, 3 fumbles by Air Force, 2 lost fumbles, one that was returned for a touchdown. So Michigan State takes over near midfield. They'll keep it on the ground here with Scott, and he gets nothing. In fact, he lost a yard or 2 as we go to Cassidy in the studio. Of course, Oregon was here, Cassidy, last week, lost to Michigan State 31-28. There's been a lot of talk this week already, even though it's week 3, that, hey, maybe the Big Ten can get 2 teams into the playoff. Obviously, Oregon would have to, you would think, win the Pac-12 for that to be a reality.
And it'd have, you know, either Ohio State or Michigan State would have to play a really tight game on November 21st.
London brought down after a minimal game. 3rd down and long coming up. I know you picked Michigan State before the season to make the playoff, meaning that you thought they would beat Ohio State. Why?
Well, I really like this team that Mark D'Antonio has put together from a defensive standpoint, especially in the front 7. I think this defensive line, in particular at the tackle and end position, has 8 players that could be starters. And really, last year, this team was about offense. They were one of the best offenses on all of college football, and people didn't realize that it was their defense that kind of let them down in those games against Oregon, Ohio State.
Connor Cook sacked. Connor Healy was there along with David Harris, Grant Ross, and it'll be a punt for Michigan State.
But to go back in those games against Oregon, Ohio State, last year against Ohio State, 49 points they gave up. And this defense, as I watch it with this front 7, I don't see them giving up 49 points to anybody. So that's a big reason why. And then if Connor Cook obviously can continue to play, the emergence of L.J. Scott and Madre London at the running back position, Aaron Burbridge. So I think that they have the talent more than anybody else in the Big Ten, obviously, and maybe the country, to compete with the Ohio State.
Well, you mentioned the 49 that they gave up to Ohio State. It's a great punt here that will be down by the Spartans inside the 10. They also gave up 46 last year to Oregon. Now they just gave up 28. Granted, Marcus Mariota wasn't playing last week.
21, really. It was
right. And 41 against Baylor in the bowl game last year. As we look at this week's college football rankings, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual, the AP Top 10. Ohio State plays up next year on ABC against Northern Illinois. On ESPN tonight, Alabama, Ole Miss. Also a big game in South Bend. Georgia Tech ranked 14th. But the Yellow Jackets, if they can win that game against the backup quarterback in Deshaun Kaiser for Notre Dame, they jump into the playoff conversation.
Well, I think Georgia Tech is the class of the ACC. Florida State didn't look great last night against BC. Clemson eked out a win over Louisville, and everybody was talking about, Deshaun Watson's going to come on the stage and just rip up the ACC. Well, that's not happening right now. Justin Thomas, in my opinion, is the leader in the clubhouse for the best quarterback in the ACC.
On first down, Washington goes nowhere. The thing we need to be careful about this year, because last year, clearly, for about 2.5 months, no one was talking about Ohio State. They had lost week 2, did not look good. There are teams in the first couple weeks of the year that aren't going to look good, that may even lose a game, that at the end of the year may be playing for a national championship.
Right.
That's what the playoff system has done for us.
Yeah. And which backup quarterback is going to emerge, right? Because we've had a lot of starting quarterbacks go down. There's a game on that schedule, UCLA and BYU. We're going to see a backup quarterback for BYU and who has really jumped onto the scene and could have a chance to really cement himself in that position.
Prior to the snap, Timeout, Air Force. Their first charge of the half. 30-second timeout.
Well, in UCLA with a freshman quarterback, you know, they're a team obviously that, you know, people are talking about. USC, UCLA
basis, and the consistency may or may not be there for a true freshman quarterback. So it'll be fascinating to watch UCLA and Josh Rosen as this season plays out.
If you had to pick a team right now outside the top 10 that's really good that people aren't talking about, is it Georgia Tech? Is there another team that maybe isn't even in the top 20? I think Ole Miss, if Ole Miss can win tonight, let's see if that offense is legit. Here's another pass play, and what a grab by Garrett Brown. Brown out to the 40-yard line with R.J. Williamson all over him. Carson Roberts is hot. 2 straight completions.
Hey, man, he's completing 66% of his passes. He's 2 for 3. Take a look at this catch. Great explosion there by Garrett Brown, and great concentration over the middle. I mean, again, you're going to have to build on this. Nate Romine is out. You know, he had surgery yesterday, and hope that surgery went well to repair his knee. So they're going to ride with Carson Roberts.
Roberts with the pitch, and Washington into Michigan State territory near the 42. You're going to look at the score and feel like this was an easy game for Michigan State, but it hasn't been. Air Force has fumbled twice in Spartan territory. One of those returned for a touchdown. And Air Force is running the ball on Michigan State.
Well, and Air Force prides itself on being a second-half team. You know, they're not the biggest team, but you know, based on what we just looked at, you know, being able to run a mile and a half in 10, 11 minutes, that this is a well-conditioned team. There's no fat guys on this team. They are all in shape, and in the second half, they have owned teams in the Mountain West Conference. So this is not a surprise that they will continue to fight through the end of this game.
Johnson straight ahead, and this time he gets plowed back. Gain of maybe 2. Joel Heath on the stop along with Damon Knox. Connor Cook has been the story for Michigan State. He has thrown for 221 yards and 4 touchdowns here at Spartan Stadium. Brian Greasy, Tom Luganbill, I'm Dave Pash. Sunny September Saturday here in East Lansing. Won't have too many of those left. And Michigan State next week plays Central Michigan, then Purdue at home to open Big Ten play. And man, wide open again, a receiver. Garrett Brown this time on the touchdown. It was Jalen Robinette, and inside the 20, Garrett Brown, first down, Air Force.
Yeah, I think Michigan State's trying to keep everything in front of them. Demetrius Cox kind of folds in on Jalen Robinette. That's their main target, and they throw the ball down the field, and Garrett Brown just leaks out of the backfield.
Air Force with more yards total offense than Michigan State in this game. How about that? Nearing 1 minute to go in the quarter. It's the quarterback Roberts keeping, tripped up by Bulla. Here's Cassidy. Northwestern with that opening week win against Stanford. The Cardinal tonight at USC on ABC. You look at Carson Roberts' passing numbers here in the second half. That first pass in the first half was a screen pass, and the last 3 have been all down the field. 2nd and 4 for Roberts and company. First man through is Owens, and he's to the 5-yard line. First and goal for the Falcons.
And I don't think that Mark D'Antonio cares about the amount of yards that's being given up. He's just worried about, at this point, 35-14 in the third quarter, getting this game over and getting people healthy and getting out of here.
Roberts keeps, and he got to the 2-yard line before he was pulled back by Dowell. Again, you had Air Force twice turn it over in Michigan State territory. One that was returned for a touchdown. And it will be a 21-point lead for Michigan State going into the fourth quarter, but Air Force is on the doorstep of getting back into the game. 35-14 Spartans after 3. We will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. To get back in the game. We're down 28-7 at halftime. Scored as many points as Sparty did in the third quarter. Now a chance to get within 14. And it's been Carson Roberts through the air that's been the difference here for Air Force offensively in the second half. And remember, he's the backup quarterback. Nate Romine, injured last week, is out for the season with a knee injury.
And last time they were down there, they ran the ball on the perimeter. Looks like some confusion for Carson Roberts. What they want to run here.
Well, he's changing things up. Got to hurry. The play clock is down to 3. And Michigan State all over that. Owens slammed down Joel Heath. Defensive tackle, a senior from Cincinnati, smacked him to the ground. Third down and goal.
Just this penetration up front. Joel Heath, Lawrence Thomas, nowhere for that running back to go. That's why I think they got to run this ball on the perimeter, Dave.
And they will with Owens on the pitch. And Owens is going to be tackled short. He got maybe a yard. Forward progress to the 2. And Air Force will go for it here on 4th down.
I know Troy Calhoun is thinking the same way I was. That was a great response by the linebacker Rezke for Michigan State. Now what do? They ran the ball inside, nowhere. They run it to the outside, and Michigan State's ready for that. I wouldn't be surprised with a little play action naked from Carson Roberts.
No, they spread it out here. They put Ryan Reff at the tight end out wide. Robinette at the bottom of your screen. 4th down and goal for Air Force. Any chance the Falcons want of getting back in the ball game, they absolutely have to score here. They're going to use a timeout. Play clock was down to 1. That leaves Air Force with just 1 timeout left. Mississippi trying to knock off Bama for the 2nd straight year. That has never happened in the history of the series. First time Michigan State has hosted a service academy, and Air Force trying to get back in the game. It's 4th down and goal. And here comes a reverse, and down goes Robinette. Excellent play in the backfield. Chris Fry makes the play for Michigan State, and the Spartans take over on downs.
Great play by Fry. The 3rd down play, Rezke snuffed out the Jacoby Owens on the outside. If Robinette were able to stay on his feet here, get around Fry, he had clear sailing to the end zone. Mark D'Antonio's fired up.
Scored a touchdown in the red zone all year, and it's because of the play of Chris Fry. Read that reverse beautifully, tackling Jalen Robinette in the backfield. And so Michigan State takes over on downs. First down from its 8-yard line. And here's Burbridge, who has 3 touchdown catches today, brought down at the 16. All right, let's bring in Tom Luganville, our national recruiting director, for more on Michigan State.
No, as good a job as Mark D'Antonio and his staff have done developing players. I think it's a bit of a myth that they've gotten this program to this point with 2- and 3-star guys. When you look at some of the talent they're playing with, guy like Lawrence Thomas along the front, Malik McDowell, L.J. Scott, the true freshman, Monte Nicholson in the back end. A lot of players in the ESPN 300. But if you look at their 2 deep on both sides of the ball, a lot of 4-star caliber guys that are littered throughout this roster, making up a pretty talented group in core nucleus for Mark D'Antonio.
A run play on 2nd down as Gerald Holmes tries to break it to the outside. No gain. Well, you just look at the guys drafted the last few years by Michigan State, especially a defensive back. Trey Waynes was a number 11 overall pick.
Darquez Denard, Curtis Drummond. I mean, they have lost a lot of players, but Mark D'Antonio in his 9th year here has really established himself in recruiting, and Tom knows better than anybody. When you're going to compete, especially with the Ohio States and what Urban Meyer is doing, he has got to get these types of players like Malik McDowell, who I think is a burgeoning star in college football. Monte Nicholson as well. These are guys that coming out of high school, they're ready to play.
Holmes on 3rd down and 2 gets the call. And right at the 1st down marker, he's brought down by Brody Hicks.
Maybe the most undervalued trait of this Michigan State football team is throughout their 2 deep on both sides of the ball, there are 27 players that are listed as redshirt guys. So they're either a redshirt junior or a redshirt fifth-year senior. That is becoming almost an evaporating luxury in college football, where you get a great player, you got to play him right away, and you lose him after his true junior year. This is a veteran, experienced team with tremendous rotational depth because they've been able to redshirt. They've been very selective with the true freshmen they've chosen to play under Mark D'Antonio.
That's a great point that Tom makes there. But, you know, one area where they aren't going to see that luxury, as you see Dana Ford there, is that receiver, because Aaron Burbridge is a senior. He played as a freshman. There's no red shirt on Aaron Burbridge. Same thing with McGarrett Kings. Anthony Arnett was a transfer, so they're going to lose 3 senior wide receivers and a ton of production at that position next year, and that's a big reason why they're going to take the red shirt off potentially of Felton Davis, who's a true freshman, number 84 right there in front of Aaron Burbridge. They're going to maybe take the red shirt off him just to get him to a point where he's had some reps before he has to really be counted on next season.
2nd and 5 for Michigan State. 4 minutes gone by here in the 4th. Play action pass for Connor Cook. And Cook hits a wide open R.J. Shelton for a first down. Tom, I want to ask you a question. How does the hiring of Jim Harbaugh at Michigan potentially change the game, not only for the Wolverines, but how does it affect Michigan State in recruiting?
Well, perception is everything, and how prospects perceive a program or a certain coach pays big dividends. If you're on the offensive side of things and you're looking at Michigan right now and you're saying, okay, what's the issue? The issue is at quarterback. Well, if I'm going to look at Jim Harbaugh and I'm a recruit and I say, hey, wait, the proof's in the pudding at all the places he's been at developing quarterbacks, that's got to give Michigan an advantage in recruiting. One of the reasons why Jim Harbaugh would have been hired there in Ann Arbor.
Now they got Damian Terry in at quarterback right now. They flexed Connor Cook out, and Cook will graduate. Maybe Terry will be the quarterback. You had him on that list in your top 300, Tom, of recruits. Go ahead and finish your point from before.
Well, I just believe that there's enthusiasm, there's proof in the pudding. I think the kids now, they're paying attention. They paid attention to what Mark D'Antonio's done here at Michigan State. They paid close attention to what's happened in the uprise at Ohio State here in the Big Ten. And now at Michigan, with such storied, rich tradition and history, with having a guy like Jim Harbaugh in place allows them to obviously expose their brand now at a wider net in recruiting, because they want to be national. As we see a big run here off to the left side from Michigan State. And when we say national, when you expand that footprint, what did we see Jim Harbaugh do? We saw him go down and have some of those satellite camps down in the South, trying to expand the brand. And so it's a big deal in recruiting to have that exposure, have that identity. And if you look at the recruiting class, we just talked about the recruits and some of the things Michigan State has done. Well, what do you have to do at Michigan? You got to get a quarterback. They feel like they've got one in this class in their verbal commitment in Brandon Peters out of Indiana.
Good stuff there, Tommy. 3rd down and 3 for Michigan State, leading by 3 scores. And Cook going to keep, and has the first down to the Air Force 49-yard line.
You know, I think just to sum up what Tom was saying, I don't think it's ever been this competitive in recruiting in the Big Ten, as long as I can remember. You know, because it used to be, you know, there were a couple teams, you know, Ohio State, Michigan State that could recruit, they could pick their players, but now you got guys like James Franklin, and you bring Harbaugh back in. Urban Meyer, one of the best recruiters in all of college football, and what Mark D'Antonio has done here, it's a competitive environment. It's almost, you know, the SEC is very competitive for players, but it's equally competitive, I think, in this day and age in the Big Ten.
I think there's still some wait and see on James Franklin and Penn State. I think Wisconsin, it's a smooth transition because Paul Chryst has been there before. As Cook goes down field, and it's incomplete, intended for Burbridge, with Brody Hicks breaking that pass up. And also, who does Illinois hire? You know, remember when Illinois hired Ron Zook? They got first-round draft picks. All of a sudden, they were recruiting some of the best players in the country, and they went to, you know, big bowl games. Can they get back to that if they hire the right guy?
It's not all coach-focused either. Let's be honest. These players that are coming to play at these universities, they're looking at what players are there now. So a big question to me, if I'm going to go to Michigan State, is who's going to be the quarterback next year? When Connor Cook's gone, you know, is it going to be Tyler O'Connor, or is it going to be Damian Terry? That to me, I think, is a big question that D'Antonio needs to answer this offseason.
Here's R.J. Shelton on the pitch, coming around the end, and he's out of bounds at the 41, got 8 yards on the play.
You know, one of the things that has, I think, changed kind of the perception of the Big Ten as a conference is, we touched on this in the first half, the shift in philosophy offensively. We've seen it here at Michigan State. You can go back to when Joe Tiller entered the Big Ten, and all of a sudden he comes from Wyoming and it's 4 and 5 wides. And it shifted the focus from being a 3 yards in a cloud of dust league to being more diverse. Now all of a sudden more athletes are attracted to the Big Ten from other regions just outside of the Midwest footprint. And that has continued to evolve with better coaching and guys making various stops, as we've referenced with Urban Meyer, Jim Harbaugh, and Mark D'Antonio coming up here, and even the job that Brett Bielema had done at Wisconsin. And Brian, you referenced James Franklin. You know, they're starting to move south into D.C. and Virginia, even down into Georgia a little bit in their recruiting efforts. And it all starts to pay off over the course of time. And if you produce wins on the field, all that does is give you further advantages on the recruiting trail.
Got a 4th down here, 4th and 1 for Michigan State on the Air Force 40-yard line. The Spartans going for it. Connor Cook straight ahead. It's going to be close. I think forward progress will give them the first down, and it looks like the linesman is going to rule first down.
This is a big 4th down. You go back to last week, and we were talking with Connor Cook about the way that their offense finished the game against Oregon, going back-to-back 3-and-outs and giving Oregon a chance to get back into that game. There is no question that Connor Cook, Mark D'Antonio, this offense wanted to finish this game on offense on the field.
Well, they didn't get it there. I think, yeah, they're going to measure. Initially, it looked like they got it. I think there was some confusion with the officials. The official on the far side was past the 41. And the line judge came from the near side, and they moved it back short, or excuse me, the 39. They moved it closer to the 40, and he is short. It's Air Force ball.
Well, you had Jack Allen, their captain, making his 38th start, and you're all Big Ten quarterback. You figure that you could get a first down in a sneak situation, but give credit to linebacker. Nobody got up to the second level on the linebacker, and that's kind of where that play got stuffed.
And again, there's nowhere to see the ball. You can't see it there really, so it'd be hard to even look at that on replay and get it overturned. So Air Force football down 3 scores. Now the Falcons with 2 turnovers inside the Michigan State 40, a turnover on downs inside the 5 in the last possession. Not saying that Michigan State wouldn't have won this game handily anyway, but Air Force has missed some opportunities. Mark D'Antonio might want to challenge this again. I think it's almost impossible to overturn it because you really can't see the ball.
Rolling on the field, the ball carrier was stopped short of the line of the game. Michigan State is challenging the spot on the previous play.
I don't think there's any way that this gets overturned. No shot. But we'll take a look during the break. 7:34 to go. Come to today's game. Mark D'Antonio trying to get to 3-0. They've got Central Michigan next week, Purdue the following week. All their difficult games, at least on paper, are on the road. At Michigan, at Nebraska, at Ohio State on November 21st. As Roberts goes back to throw, he's being chased by McDowell and throws it away. All right, let's look at our preseason playoff predictions. Greasy was in a no-win situation. It was either Ohio State or Michigan State he had to pick, so he went with the
yeah,
lesser
but everybody watching
evils.
this game was happy with me.
Yeah, for once. We are all different in terms of the SEC champ and Big 12 champ.
Nice pick there in the SEC there, Pash.
Well,
I'm confident about the Auburn pick.
They're 2-0. But Jeremy Johnson has struggled, to say the least. We had the Louisville game, and then last week barely beating Jacksonville State. Well, they play LSU today. We'll know more after today, right?
And I want to ask Lugs about his Big 12 pick there, the Sooners.
Here's Owens on the pitch. A lot of running room against his Michigan State defense, and it's another first down.
All right, guys, I have facts to back my stuff up, okay? So 3 of the last 4 years, Oklahoma was picked to finish in the top 5. And each one of those 3 years, they didn't. In the 1 year they weren't preseason top 5, they finished in the top 5. So while everybody's talking about TCU and everybody's talking about Baylor. I figure Oklahoma's good to come out of nowhere when nothing's expected of them.
That's just like Luganville. You know, what do the last 3 years have to do with this year? Absolutely nothing, Luke.
It's a trend. That's what Oklahoma does. Count on it.
Hey, that was a good win last week in Knoxville. Down in that game, come from behind.
They're playing right now against Tulsa, getting all they can handle.
Yeah, they're back up 14. It was close for a little bit.
Quit knocking my pick, Grease.
Well, we all saw LSU in person last week, and I know Coach Corso picked LSU to win the national title. I mean, they got a ton of talent. And then to the 40-yard line is Devin Rushing, an appropriate last name for his position. And it'll bring up third down.
And then the Pac-12s that were picked. We're going to find out a lot about those. Obviously, USC and Stanford tonight. I do not expect Stanford to lay down for SC. And David Shaw, Kevin Hogan, I know it's been kind of an up and down thing, but David Shaw's too good a coach, and I think Kevin Hogan's got too much potential to not bounce back in a big way tonight.
3rd and 3. And here's Rushing again, gets the first down and more inside the 30-yard line. And again, next week you got USC at Arizona State, UCLA at Arizona. Tough road games early in conference play for those two teams. Well, Arizona State was a team people thought could do it, and look, it's possible they still might. They lost the opener to A&M. If they win the Pac-12, they may be in the playoffs. Rushing off the right side, inside the 15, inside the 10. 1st and goal for Air Force. We go to Cassidy. First and goal for Air Force inside the 10. And in trouble is Owens, wrapped up by Darian Hicks for a loss at the 8-yard line. That's a 2-yard setback. We're inside 6 minutes to go in the 4th. Michigan State with only 7 second-half points, and now they got an injured starter, Lawrence Thomas.
Yeah, this is what Mark D'Antonio does not want to see. Literally, he just wants to get out of here healthy. See when we come back.
They've recovered 2. One was returned by R.J. Williamson, more than 60 yards for a touchdown. The Spartans lead 35-14. Air Force was stopped on downs inside the 10 on its last possession. It's down here again. 2nd and goal from the 8-yard line. And they're going to have another negative play. Tyler Williams brought down around the 10-yard line. Another 2-yard loss. So 3rd and goal from the 10. 4-down territory here for Air Force. Chased out by Monte Nicholson.
Yeah, it looked like Mark D'Antonio put some of his starters back out there on the field that time. Riley Bullish, Elite Calhoun. Antonio does not want to give up any more points to Air Force.
And Calhoun, we haven't really called his name a lot. He's a pass rusher. A 2nd-team All-American last year. Captain of this defense. And he's done a decent job in the run game, but just not calling him a lot because he's getting blocked by a couple of guys just about every play. 3rd and goal. Roberts looking for the throwback. Michigan State reads it well, and it's picked off. R.J. Williamson, who had the fumble recovery for a touchdown, takes it out of Ryan Reffitt's hands on this play for an interception.
Great read by R.J. Williamson. He wasn't fooled with the throwback screen to the tight end. He's there, first and foremost, he doesn't take a cheap shot at a defenseless player, number 1. Then he goes for the football. It's just great heads-up play. Senior now out of Dayton, Ohio. It's his first year starting last year, and there were some breakdowns in that secondary, quite honestly, especially against Oregon and Ohio State. And R.J. Williamson's a guy that they are counting on to be that steadying presence in that secondary as the lone senior and leader.
2nd interception of the year. So an interception and a fumble return for a touchdown in the game. So Michigan State just outside 5 minutes remaining. Keeps its 21-point lead. They're going to run it. L.J. Scott. They've had trouble running the ball, but this is good yardage on 1st down, about 6. Out and about on this college football Saturday. Don't miss any of the action while you're on the go. Stream any game live. Download the Watch ESPN app. We're going to watchespn.com. We'll be doing that on the drive to the airport. At least those in the passenger seat will.
I'll drive because I've seen you drive. You can watch ESPN app in the passenger seat.
Don't get all your shots in now. It's a long year. You've tried. You were good. The first one was good. The last two, not so much. A lot of Michigan games to go this year, too.
Looking good today.
2nd and 5. Scott brought down at the line of scrimmage. Lachlan Deeks on the tackle.
Oh, see, no, this isn't me. I'm not doing this to you right now.
Yeah, this is the truck. Based on your comment where because the Falcon had the blinders on, he called the game like I did. Don't make any nose comments either about the similarity in Beaks. He's got the Watch ESPN app from what I told. Everybody's got a smartphone these days, Grace.
That is that's a beautiful looking bird.
Got a timeout, 3rd and 6. Look at our AT&T strong performance. Aaron Burbridge, the first Michigan State receiver with 3 receiving touchdowns in a game since 2007. And how about the one catch he had where it was ruled that he was out of bounds first? But
right
look
here.
at this.
That was a great catch. I mean, the body control, obviously, to make that catch in traffic, and then the body control, know where you are on the field. This is just a start for Aaron Burbridge. He's been, he's very highly recruited. He's played as a freshman, and then he kind of took a back seat to Tony Lippett. But it is Aaron Burbridge's stage now in this Michigan State passing offense. And they're going to need him. They're going to need him on a consistent basis to make plays when they're there to be made, because teams are going to have to gang up on this offense, stop the running game, and they're going to have to make plays down the field.
Surprised he and Cook and the starters are still in the game. Up 3 scores, 4 minutes to go.
It might have something to do with the way they finished the game, quite honestly, last week against Oregon. They didn't finish it on the field. They missed the 4th down, 4th and 1. So, no, I'm not surprised they're still out there.
Here's London on 1st down, straight ahead. He gets stacked up at the 25-yard line, led by Tyler Weaver. They don't get the 1st down, so 4th down, Michigan State will have to kick it back to Air Force. 4 minutes to go.
A lot of time coaches will they'll take things like that, like the end of that game, and say, we weren't able to finish it on offense, and they'll use that against an offense all week, and then they'll give them another opportunity in the next game, and I guarantee you that Mark D'Antonio and his staff will use that 4th down with that offensive line on that last drive as incentive in way of coaching and motivating this team to get better each and every week. You got to find an edge somewhere, and Mark D'Antonio has been great at that.
Jake Hartbarger to punt. Garrett Brown has a return for a touchdown this season. Gets his hands on it here at the 25-yard line. And there are 4 Spartans down there. They cover that punt beautifully. He's brought down to the 25. The Muppets are back on TV like you've never seen them before. Kermit and all the rest, plus amazing human guest stars too. The Muppets premieres this Tuesday night, 8/7 Central on ABC.
Jimmy is a hanky-pankin. It's pretty good to make him a Rudy.
I have no idea what he's saying. This is harder to navigate than a Marshawn Lynch press conference.
That's very funny. Some would say that the Swedish chef breaks down a play better than you do.
Looks like me in the kitchen, actually. I love to cook, but can't always understand when things are flying around in there.
There's a penalty marker on the play. Another personal foul on Air Force. Boy, Caliendo, he does everybody great. The Berman, though, that's very good. I mean, the look and the accent, very good. Now, Michigan State going to go to 3-0. So you talked about that, Mark D'Antonio leaving the starters in on offense, and here's some on defense as well. Any warning signs for you going forward for Michigan State as someone who picked them to make the playoff? Do you see anything going forward that concerns you if you're a Spartan fan?
I think coming into this season, the question was, the secondary. How are they going to replace Trey Waynes, Curtis Drummond? I think we weren't going to figure that out in this game. Obviously, Air Force doesn't throw the football.
Checking with Cassidy in the studio. Pat Fitzgerald with a bounce back year. A team to keep an eye on. The Wildcats beat Stanford week 1. First down. Roberts to throw. And boy, Garrett Brown took a shot. Here come penalty flags. Might have a targeting here. And boy, this, you know, if it is, well, hold on. Let's wait for the call from Alan Eck, the referee.
Personal foul, targeting, number 30, defense. 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the run. First down. The play is under review.
Unfortunately, that's pretty textbook.
Yep, forcible contact to the head or neck area. And this is important that it happens at this time of the game, because this would mean that Bulla is suspended for the first half of next game. They got Central Michigan at home. Riley Bulla would have to sit that game out. All right, you were talking before we had to go to studio about Michigan State, what you've seen today, and just kind of big picture for the Spartans this year in terms of, you know, what will it take to look like a playoff team when they have that matchup with Ohio State?
Well, I think the biggest difference in this Michigan State team has been their front four. I mean, their front four is legitimate. Malik McDowell, you can see now that Riley Bulla has been ejected from this game. But you know, this team, I think, has still some question marks in the secondary, and can they continue to grow in the secondary without Trey Waynes, Curtis Drummond? Monte Nicholson, I think, is a budding star at the safety position. Demetrius Cox at that corner position. So there's still some questions in my mind there.
$15 tackles, a career high for Bulla, but he's out for this game in the first half of next week. Boy, poor defense. Robinette wide open again, and he's brought down inside the 10-yard line. He's a good-looking kid. Jalen Robinette, 6'4", 215.
And he just beat one of the guys that, you know, we're talking about, Arjun Kaloun, as a backup corner that trying to, you know, earn some playing time. He gets beat, lulled to sleep late in the game. It's not going to make Mark D'Antonio happy.
Another pass play, fade to Robinette. Knocked away by Demetrius Cox. But a flag. Maybe the offhand interfered with Robinette. Tried to reach over him and deflect that pass.
You know, I don't agree with these calls. When the defender, the corner, looks back for the ball and there's hand fighting back and forth, both guys have equal opportunity for the ball. And when you look back, and Demetrius Cox looked back, he was in good position. There's hand fighting. You can't call that on the defender. You can call it on the offender. You can call it on both guys, but they're both looking back for the ball. How is that on the defense?
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know, that's just. I think it comes from the corner. The official that was in the corner too, that didn't necessarily see through Robinette's back, but that's a no call in my book.
So first and goal for Air Force. And a touchdown for DJ Johnson. 3 times down here inside the 10. And they finally punch it in, but it's pretty much too late at this point. But this is the starting defense for Michigan State still on the field. And they've been getting pushed around at times by Air Force up front. And Air Force has almost 300 rushing yards. Now they average over 400, so you give the Spartans a win there. But the fact that they've averaged more yards per play and have more yards total offense than Michigan State does. The concern last year for the Spartans was on defense. Point after makes it 35-21.
And you know, when I look at statistics, yards mean nothing to me. They just, points mean everything. The frame of the.
And I think they fired him for reasons other than that. But you know, Nebraska is a team not to sleep on. Michigan State has to go there in November. Nebraska plays at Miami. That's coming up here in about 15 minutes on ABC. Air Force preparing for the onside kick with 2:11 remaining, and this is an easy recovery here for Williamson.
No, Mark D'Antonio, guys, was not happy with that last drive on defense. In fact, he told me when this game started, number one, we got to be tough. Number two, we got to line up correctly. And on 2 plays there, the big pass to Robinette, and on the goal line there on the touchdown, Michigan State wasn't lined up, and he was very animated about it on the sideline. let Monte Nicholson have it a little bit in terms of how they're playing this offense. They are coaching to the end. The little things matter here. It's really been the foundation for this program. And Mark D'Antonio not too happy with what he's seeing late.
Well, in our conversation with him yesterday, you knew there was a deep respect for Air Force, for the type of student athletes and servicemen that they were dealing with, but also just the way they play football. And this was a team, because of the way they're constructed offensively, that they started to prep for in the spring. It was 6 months, as Mark D'Antonio said, basically a preparation for this game. And he was a little worried, you know, coming off that game against Oregon, but he relied on his seniors and depended upon their leadership to guide them through today. And the Spartan fans may not like the final score, that it was only a 14-point win, but look, it was 28-7 at halftime. And 3-0, number 4 in the country. Keep it on the ground here with London.
You saw Mark D'Antonio, a lot of his angst in that last drive was on the sideline, directed towards Monte Nicholson, Demetrius Cox, that secondary. And that's, you know, when you boil it all down, Mark D'Antonio is a secondary coach. That's where he likes to focus a lot of his time, and he takes that personal. And when you have a guy, a talent like Monte Nicholson as a true sophomore, he's got all kinds of speed and size and range, and he's going to be an outstanding football player. But Mark D'Antonio is going to be true to the kid and coach him on every single play and coach him hard, because these are learning opportunities for young players in his secondary.
Final play of the game, and Connor Cook will take a knee. And Michigan State beats Air Force 35-21. Spartans 3-0. Central Michigan here at home next week. Then Purdue. And then they'll have some tough road tests from mid-October on, culminating in the game in Columbus on November 21st. Connor Cook with 4 touchdown passes, now 8 on the season. 3 of them today went to Aaron Burbridge. Mark D'Antonio now with Tom.
Well, Coach, a difficult opponent anytime you got a short week for Air Force. Assess your performance today.
Well, you know, I think we hurt ourselves. Didn't run the ball very effectively. Had some big plays on offense. Didn't turn it over, though. So that was a positive. We came up big plays on defense, two fourth down, 2 goal line type of situation stops, and came up with turnovers and 1 for a touch. So, but we did some good things, but, you know, we had some blows, too.
You talk about some of those blows that last drive there. I saw you addressing some of your secondary players on the sideline. Were those assignment errors?
Absolutely.
Coach, good luck. Nice win.
All right, thank you.
All right, so as you mentioned, Tom D'Antonio not happy with some assignment errors on defense, but overall happy with a win and 30-plus points.